We're going to take some calls, people on their way to the A's game tonight with the reverse boycott. I get where you're coming from. I really do. I lived in L.A. when the whole Frank McCourt thing was going on, and Dodger fans were like, we're not going. We're not going. And guess what happened? He sold the team. It finally got bad enough. The press got bad enough. The embarrassment got bad enough. Now, he held on to the parking lots, so don't worry about Frank. He's still making money hand over fist. But he sold the team. So I get the effort. No, I don't think it's going to work. But I certainly appreciate the effort. I think A's fans, I'm rooting for all of you. I get that you want to be seen and heard this evening. But I'd also say this. The one thing I was thinking about, and I was listening to Stein and Gu take calls on it and talk about it and whatnot, this isn't all John Fisher's fault. There's nothing good to say about him. There's nothing, so I won't. But I'm also, I'm put off by the whole structure that allows this. Because when people say, hey, it's his business, he can do what he wants with it and he's making money. Well, no, it's not just his business. He is a franchise owner of a larger business. And there should be oversight and a realization, sensation, by everybody involved in Major League Baseball that this is bad for your brand. Okay? If you own a Subway restaurant and you run it into the ground and you have dirt and mold all over your lunch meat, you will close. You will not have all the other Subways come in and go, let's share our revenue with you and let's take care of you.
But this is not Subway. And this is, if you want to assign blame, you can go all the way up to the Supreme Court and the Congress of the United States of America for giving Major League Baseball the antitrust exemption, which allows baseball to conduct itself in this manner. Because if you didn't have the antitrust exemption, well, then the A's would not be allowed to act like this, and other teams would not have a system where they would have to prop up franchises like the A's and like the Tampa Bay Rays and like the Florida Marlins and other small market teams gone by that get revenue sharing because they are small market. The A's are not small market. Nope. They are small-minded, and they are small-pocketed by John Fisher. So I do think that, yes, you can blame Major League Baseball. You can blame the antitrust exemption. You can blame the structure of baseball all you want. This, to me, is squarely on John Fisher. Because if Joe Lacob owned the A's, let's just use him as an example, because we all love the billionaire owner, Joe Lacob, he would not run this team in this fashion. You would still have Simeon and Olsen and Chapman. You would still have star players because he cares about his product.
I totally agree with you, but not every owner is going to be cut the same. So in other words, sure, that's how you want an owner to act, but they don't necessarily all have to act that way. And while I understand that and acknowledge that, there need to be limits. That's all I'm saying. Major League Baseball, and you'll get no argument from me if you want to blame John Fisher, hate John Fisher, there's nothing good to say. Not one darn thing. But the idea that the whole outfit, the whole business, will allow one of its franchises to simply say, I do not care about our customers, even though we are running retail and entertainment. You don't get to do that. That is taking advantage of the situation, in my opinion. And when you're an owner, the only way to combat that is to be outcast by the other owners. And let's not act like this isn't doable. It is. The problem is all of these other owners are complicit. Major League Baseball is complicit because they want to take care of their old boys network. Okay? Donald Sterling said something into a microphone that you should not say. And I heard everybody, well, he didn't do anything illegal. It's his business, isn't it? No, it's not.
Right.
Somebody can step forward and go, we're not doing that here.
But if he didn't say what he said, they wouldn't have thrown him out. Even though he was a slumlord owner of many businesses and many buildings, it wasn't until he used racially charged language and his own players revolted against him. That's the only reason why they threw him out. The other owners didn't want to force him to sell. Well, just like these other owners don't want to force John Fisher to sell. You know what they want John Fisher to do? They want him to relocate, because then they'll get a little, as I borrow from Guru, they're going to get their little taste of the relocation fee. They don't give a crap about all the A's fans going for this reverse boycott. They don't care about the city of Oakland. They don't care about John Fisher. They care about their own pocketbooks.
Right, but
all of them.
I would argue, I don't even need him to care about the fans. I don't need him to care about John Fisher. They should, however, care about the future of their game, and this kind of stuff, I would argue to the death, is terrible for the sport. It absolutely sets it up to fail long term. You cannot become a sport where it's working in 8 cities where they're trying, and the rest of them are here just so that we've got games to play. That is terrible for the long-term health of the sport.
The long-term health of a sport, and you're dealing with what's the average age of Major League Baseball owners? Can we just guess that it's 60?
132.
So what do they care about the long range?
Well, because they've got kids who are going to take over their business. But once
they can sniff that the business is going down, they sell. I don't think that how many of these owners really care about baseball and the long-term health and welfare of the sport?
I'm not going to argue how many, but they all should.
But I don't think they do.
I don't know.
And that's,
they all still want to make more money.
Sure.
I mean, if they don't need any more money, then just be done.
Well, when you're done, you sell it.
Beach.
Well, you're not ready to do that because you're still making money.
Right. And the same reason Joe Lacob doesn't want to spend $500 million on payroll, because even when you've got billions, you want more. And that's what I'm asking these billionaires to do. I want you to want more. I want you to want to care about the future of your sport. I want you to realize that this denigrates the whole picture, that you support this, that you allow this to happen, that you let this to be a part of your sport. Absolutely. A Steinbrenner should not think that you achieved something when the A's come to town and you win. You didn't achieve anything. You just beat up on a kindergartner.
That's fine. And it's a win. The standings don't care who you beat up on.
I find that to be prisoner of the moment thinking. That's me.
I find it to be the reality of Major League Baseball as it sits right now. Because if you look at the recent history of the league, the majority of teams that win are the big market, the big spending teams. Yep. And that's the nature of it. You could look at the start of any Major League Baseball season and look at 16 teams and say, you've got no chance to win. And yet those teams are still competing because those teams are trying to make that $5 to $10 to $20 to $30, or in the A's case, $50 million.
Wow.
Even though you stink, you're going to make $50 million a year as John Fisher. Why would you be incentivized to win?
Why was anybody incentivized to win then? All of these owners all make money. Why are any of them incentivized to win?
Because some of them are like Joe Lacob and Steve Ballmer, guys who tie their own personal ego to success.
And I believe
Mark Cuban.
They're also visionaries. And to me, John Fisher is not. Not in this particular case. And anybody.
No, he's a silver spoon trust funder who's done nothing in his life.
There you go.
Including, he hasn't even popped his head out of his little whack-a-mole hole, and yet his fellow owners are willing to go ahead and glad hand him to Vegas because they're going to get a taste of his relocation.
There's no defending John Fisher, but this is also on baseball. This is also on the other owners. 1,000%. John Fisher is Darth Vader, and there is an emperor. There is an emperor. And that's what needs to be overthrown.
Well, it'll never.
And Fisher's
unlike
not going
Star
to grab
Wars,
the emperor
this is
and
never going to be. It's never going to be overthrown because all of the owners are complicit. To your point, and they're all on the teat, and they're all making money on this Fisher to Vegas move. So all the fans who want to protest, reverse boycott, and show up, John Fisher is probably sitting in his got it from Goodwill because I'm a cheapo, lazy boy chair and thinking, oh boy, it's going to be a good night tonight. I'm making about $300,000.
You think he's got one of those puffy hoodies on that just says Gap right across the chest?
Made in Bangladesh.
I always thought those were super ugly. I never understood why people would grab those. But anyway, let's take some calls. Billy in Oakland. Hey, Billy, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What are you doing, Billy?
Getting ready to fly to New York tonight.
Okay. Have a safe flight.
Well, not for good reason. My mom, who's 98 years old, is not feeling well. I was going to be going to the game tonight, but this came up, so I'm going to fly to New York.
Okay, best to your mom.
I have the opportunity to vent.
Go for it.
I was a season ticket holder in Oakland for over 30 years. I brought up my son in that stadium. We loved the A's. Win, lose, or draw, it was a great time to go out. And then they got rid of all the players. They doubled my ticket prices. They tripled my parking prices. They doubled my food prices. And then what really shocked me is when I didn't re-up, crickets. I never got anything from the A's, not a call from the marketing department, not an email, nothing saying, hey, season ticket holder of over 30 years duration, did you forget this year? Why don't you come back? We'll give you something. It's just disgusting what's going on, and it's disgusting that Major League Baseball allows this clown to do this.
Billy, they didn't want you to come back. You get that, right? They didn't want you there.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
that's when I'm not wanted.
That's a piece of why I understand. And thank you, Billy, and have a safe flight and the best to your mom.
Yeah, Billy.
I like that's why I get a piece of what people are doing tonight. I'm not saying I think it's going to work. I'm not that naive. Okay, John Fisher will laugh at this, and life will move on. And I firmly believe that this is going to pass in the state of Nevada. And I think that the A's are probably going to end up there, and it'll be laughable in a different way there. It's very, very sad, but I have watched this process from beginning to end before. When I worked in San Diego and the Chargers left, and they did the exact same thing. They don't want the bill to pass. They don't want the bill to pass. They want to go somewhere else where someone else can take care of them. In the Chargers case, it was to go up there and have the Rams take care of them and just be a renter. In this particular case, it's to go somewhere where there's public money. Same thing with the Raiders. They want to go somewhere where someone else will take care of them, so they're going to put a big proposal on the table that they know is not going to pass, and then they can say they tried. And that's exactly why they want the building to look empty, because they are going to pitch to America that you, the fans, don't care. That's why I get what they're doing tonight. That's why I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. But 20,000 fans one night out of 81, to me, is not going to send the appropriate message. Now, for me, if I was an outraged A's fan, and I gave up my A's fandom probably about 5 years ago, I got disgusted with the goings-on. I subsequently moved out of Oakland. I lived about 3 miles away from the stadium. We would go all the time. I raised my kids on going to A's games, and back in the early 10s, it was fun. It was an affordable family night out. It was a product that you could believe in. I took my kid out of school the day that the A's beat the Rangers to win the division. Josh Hamilton lost that fly ball in the sun. It was a sellout crowd. At that time, the A's were still a thing that you could believe in as an Oakland resident and as a fan of baseball. But subsequently into that, they've become an embarrassment. So I have not decided to support John Fisher and this current A's regime. So for me, to support him for even one night is an untenable, completely undesirable, unacceptable way to spend my money.
I totally get it. I really do. I totally get it.
Now, there are other ways that I personally would think about protesting John Fisher.
Let's go.
I cannot...
are they not appropriate?
Not only are they not appropriate, but many of them are probably outside the bounds of the law.
Legality. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, you can tell me during a break.
I think you know me well enough to know what those would be.
I got some ideas.
Yeah.
Brian is on 880. Hey, Brian, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What are you doing?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm on my way to the game here right now, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying, pretty much everything. But, the reason I'm going is, A, I'm an A's fan, and I want to be surrounded by A's fans who are excited about something. We haven't had that for a while. And B, I think it's making an impact already. This is a national story, and if we could show that there aren't 2,000 A's fans or 10 or whatever people joke about all the time, it's a message. It's something, and it's not that difficult for me to get in the car and go to the game, wear some A's gear for once, and have a good time.
Brian, I think that what happens tonight is going to be a story. The question is after that, what does it do? Right? Does this affect Fisher? Does it affect the Nevada state legislature and the way they're going to vote? So, again, that's why I phrased it as A's fans are going to go be seen and heard, and I think you will be. I'm skeptical that there's going to be anything substantive that comes from it, though. You get what we're saying?
Absolutely. I don't think it's going to stop what's going on in Nevada in its tracks. I don't think that it's going to change anybody's mind who's making decisions about this. But it's not. It's like you said. It's just something to do. It's sending a message the only way we can, just same way as not showing up to games. And it already is a national story. It's already in ESPN. It's already in Sports Illustrated that this was going to happen. So I don't know. It's gonna create something. It's not gonna change what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Get one of those shirts, okay?
Oh, I'm getting one.
I know you are.
The Cell shirt.
Yeah. A fan-funded giveaway tonight. Where are they giving them away?
Everywhere.
Like
there's a tailgate for the Oakland 68ers, which
Brian.
the A's came here in 1968. I saw a post where you can get them in a limited way on the BART ramp, as well as many other things, by the way. Shout out to BART ramp. I've actually gone to the Coliseum and forgotten to go to games because I've spent time on the BART ramp. Dude, trust me. Shout out the BART ramp. That'll be one of the true losses if the A's, in fact, do leave 66th and Hagenberger, especially Raider games. My God, the BART ramp.
I went to a college football game years ago with a girl who ended up never making it inside. Yeah, there's party buses happen. I never saw her again.
Oh yeah, the overpassing from the BART station to the Collie. It's about a 200-yard gauntlet of this and that, this and that. You can also get him in the parking lot. There's an official tailgate of the 68ers.
Okay.
The Cell shirts will be widely available. And I like what Brian said about his reason for going. It's the best reason I've heard yet, to be around A's fans.
Yeah.
To just go there and be around A's fans and be there with A's fans who are doing something together. That's actually a great reason on why you're going.
This doesn't need to be some sort of a picket line. If this is a support group for some people, which is kind of the way Brian put it, fine. I get it. In fact, the gentleman who called a few minutes ago was flying to New York. He's like, look, this is a funeral. I've been to funerals before. The person is already dead. They don't know that you're there, but you go anyway because you want to be around all of the other people who are suffering from this situation. And sure, that's valid. It's totally valid.
And that's kind of what this is, because Brian made a good point when he said, I don't think that this is going to change anything. And he's probably right. If what you reported about the Nevada legislature is true, that the first hurdle, I don't know what other hurdles they need to clear, but the first hurdle being cleared of the A's eventually moving to Vegas, it's going to be, I just hope that the bad news doesn't permeate the Coliseum tonight and lead good people to do bad things.
Now that I agree with. I mean, I feel like that's kind of omnipresent with everything that happens. There was a shooting in the celebration in Denver.
10 people.
Last night. So always hope that alcohol and bad judgment do not end up taking over this event. So I think that's a very fair statement as well.